The forest disappears first. Not in a dramatic way. No explosions, no tanks, just survey markers, then a road, then concrete. And 5 years later, where trees once stood, there's a city that didn't exist on most maps. This isn't a movie. It's happening right now across Africa, and China is at the center of it, quietly, methodically, at scale. This matters now because Africa is the youngest continent on Earth. By 2050, 1 in 4 humans will be African. Cities are exploding outward, governments are desperate for infrastructure, and China has a very specific answer to that desperation. Roads, railways, power plants, ports, entire cities built almost turnkey. On the surface, it looks like development. Scratch deeper, and it looks like something else entirely. Let's slow this down and see how it actually works. It usually starts with a need. A country needs a highway or a dam or a port to move exports. Western lenders say, we'll talk after reforms, audits, and 5 years of paperwork. China says, we can start next month. The deal is simple. Chinese state banks provide the money. Chinese firms do the construction. Chinese equipment, Chinese labor, Chinese timelines. The host country gets infrastructure fast. China gets something in return. Sometimes it's repayment with interest. Sometimes it's long-term access to minerals. Sometimes it's land use rights. Sometimes it's port control. Often it's a mix of all 4. This is where things get interesting, because this isn't charity, and it's not quite colonialism either. It's a system built on incentives. China has excess industrial capacity, too much steel, too much cement, too many construction firms. Africa has the opposite problem, not enough of anything. So China exports its overcapacity as development. From 2000 to today, Chinese lenders issued over $1 trillion in overseas loans. Roughly half went to developing countries. Africa became one of the biggest destinations. Railways in Kenya, dams in Ethiopia, ports in Djibouti, industrial zones in Nigeria, entire satellite cities in Angola. From the air, it looks like progress. From the balance sheet, it looks more complicated. Here's the uncomfortable math. Many of these projects don't generate enough revenue to pay for themselves. A railway needs freight volume, a port needs trade, a city needs people with money, but the loans still have to be repaid. So governments refinance or restructure or quietly hand over control of assets. This is where the phrase debt trap enters the conversation, and also where reality becomes less dramatic than the headlines. China doesn't usually seize assets outright. What it does instead is gain leverage, long-term leases, preferred access, political alignment, voting support in international forums. Influence compounds quietly. There's a subtle irony here. China frames this as South-South cooperation. No lectures, no democracy conditions, no human rights seminars. Many African leaders genuinely prefer this approach. It feels respectful, fast, pragmatic. But speed has a cost. Environmental reviews get rushed. Local labor gets sidelined. Projects are optimized for completion, not long-term sustainability. Forests become cities, but cities don't automatically become economies. And this is where the hype starts to crack. Publicly, the story is win-win. Africa develops, China helps, everyone grows. Privately, even Chinese banks are getting nervous. Loan defaults are rising. Renegotiations are becoming common. Some projects are already being written down as losses. China is discovering something older empires learned the hard way. Building infrastructure is easy. Building self-sustaining systems is not. Meanwhile, African citizens are asking harder questions. Who owns this port? Why are tolls so high? Why are the jobs temporary? Why does the city feel empty? In some places, resentment is growing. In others, dependence is deepening. And yet, here's the twist. There is no obvious alternative. Western investments still move slowly. Multilateral lenders still demand reforms that take decades. Africa's urban growth isn't waiting, so China keeps building, not because it's winning, but because stopping would cost even more. This is no longer just about Africa, it's about China's own economic gravity. If these projects succeed, China anchors itself as the central builder of the global South. If they fail, China absorbs massive financial losses and political backlash. Either way, the forests are already gone. The megacities are rising, glass towers next to informal settlements, highways that lead somewhere, but not always somewhere productive. The real question isn't whether China is rebuilding Africa, it's whether anyone knows what they're actually building towards, because history is full of infrastructure that outpaced the society beneath it, and systems that looked permanent right up until they weren't. Africa is changing faster than ever. China is betting it can shape that change, but influence, like concrete, eventually cracks, and when it does, the bill comes due. Just not always to the people who signed the contract.
Subscribe for more biggest hidden mega projects, and I will assure you they will blow your mind.